Hello.
It is great to see you. Yes, we're here. My name is, to the kids, I'm Mrs. O'Neill.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Mr. Human.
Yep, and we are here to give a podcast style interview conversation on the art of
Auditioning.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It is. It's very important to know a couple things about how to audition well, how to prepare, what to look forward to if it's your first audition, or if it's your 150th audition. What kind of things can help you have a good audition?
Totally. It's really important. We have now been directing with each other for 8 years.
8 years. Whoa.
Wow. And I feel like as a performer, I have learned so much by sitting in the director's seat. Things that I go, oh man,
right.
Do I do that when I'm auditioning?
Right.
It's been the best lesson as a performer.
Because you see everything from a different angle. We're on the other side of it. So what we want to do is we want to share some of that insight with you.
Right. So we're just going to talk conversation style. Maybe tell a few stories.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Oh, yeah.
So first off, when you go to an audition, you typically know you're auditioning for such and such show, right, Mr. Human?
Oh, yeah. You usually, hopefully,
Hopefully,
you know what you're auditioning for.
And if you don't, you should go back and figure that out.
Yeah, it might help.
It kind of helps with the rest of the conversation a little bit. You should know where you're going, what the show is, what the characters are.
Right.
The more you know, honestly, the better.
Do as much research as you can about the show. Maybe some personal connection about what it means to you. At least know the story, know some characters, know where you think you might fit in that story, in that play, what roles you think you might want to be in.
Right.
Now, obviously, that's not up to you, but if you have an idea, it might help you get to the point where you can audition well.
Yep. And if you can get a hold of a script and the music, that's also really good. Coming in as prepared as possible, thinking, if I get that call back, I'm ready for any song or any scene as much as you can. And you know what the great thing is with the internet? It's different than when I was doing a lot of auditions.
It's so different.
You had to go to that music store in Hollywood and go search through.
Right.
Now you can find things a lot easier.
It's so true. Like, we're not going to bore you with stories of being old and doing theater a long time ago, but it's such a different thing. And so you guys are really blessed to be able to have all the resources that you have. So do that research, get as much information as you can because it's out there for you.
Yeah. So that goes into when you go to the audition, if it's a play without music, usually you're asked to do a monologue.
Yeah.
And if it's a musical, you're asked to sing a song. And knowing what the play is before you step into auditions helps you prepare for that moment.
Yeah.
Your song choice or your monologue choice, right?
Yeah, I think some of the best auditions, like for songs that I've seen, are where someone has a role in mind for a certain play that they're coming to audition for, and they pick a song that's not from that play,
right?
Because you don't want to give it away. They pick a song that's from another play that is very similar to the main song of that character from the play they're auditioning for. I think that makes sense. But it's really, really good because what it shows is that they did their research, that they understand the different types of performance in music, and that they're able to pull out that emotion. And so as a director, we're able to see, they can actually play that role.
Yeah.
Because they picked a really smart song.
Yep.
And same thing goes for monologues too.
Totally. Picking that same genre. Maybe if it's a show where there's an accent, if you can do the accent, picking a monologue where that's there. But if you can't, just do a monologue really well.
Right.
That's not something you have to do in that moment. You can be taught that. But
that's a good point in general. When you're auditioning, not trying to do an accent if it's not your thing. Like if you're really good at accents and you can nail the accent that you're going for that show, then go for it. If not, it's probably better just to put the accent aside for the audition and just audition strong and focus on the rest of it.
Knowing they can help you with that.
Right, you can be coached in an accent.
Totally.
Yeah.
But knowing that style changes what you're going to do. So if I were auditioning for a very classical piece, Mr. Human, would I come in with a very modern musical song that's rock and roll or rap or something like that?
Probably not.
Probably not.
It would probably be hard for whoever's directing to see what you're going to look like in that classical show with older music.
Yeah.
If you come in singing something from Hamilton.
Which we love.
Which we love Hamilton.
We love Hamilton.
We love it so much, by the way.
Yeah, so much.
But if you're doing something older, like Annie or Sound of Music, you're going to want to sing a song that sounds more like those shows from musicals that were written at the same time and have a similar feel. Which
is why in the audition notice, it's really good to look at all the details and go, hey, they are asking for a musical theater song, or they're asking for a pop song, or they're asking you to sing in the style that the musical is.
Exactly.
In fact, we've had times where we've had to ask people to sing another song because they didn't read the audition notice.
Yes. And that's very common.
It's common.
In auditions.
Yeah.
I've played for a lot of auditions for community theater and professional theater, and one thing, and school theater as well. And one thing that I see all the time is the directors ask for a second song. Very often they will want to see something else, either because the person that came in didn't pick what they thought was like a good song for them, that the directors thought, or they just have another thing in mind and they want to see, well, okay, you can do a ballad, but can you do a rockin', jumpin', dancing song kind of thing? They want to know if you can do different styles.
Yeah.
And so that's so for basic auditions, you don't need to have like 5 songs ready. We're not trying to scare you. You don't have to have a lot of songs ready. But if you have more than one, it's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea. Same with monologues.
Yeah. Like 2?
2, I would say 2. I mean, if you have more up your sleeve, great. But having contrasting. So maybe you came in with that ballad, but you also have the comedic piece ready because they want to see if you can be funny.
Right.
Or the belting piece and and monologue. Maybe they want to see, maybe you came in with a comedic one, but they go, oh, I kind of see that person maybe as the more serious character. Do you have a dramatic monologue with you?
Right.
Always good to be prepared, because the other option is they don't hear you then and they just say, oh, great, have a good day. Or they ask you to sing something or recite something that's totally cold at that point.
True.
And the better option is you're already prepared.
You're prepared for something. Yeah. Mrs. O'Neill.
Yeah.
Do you always have a few audition songs ready?
Ooh, it's a good question. I probably honestly haven't been as good as this as I should be.
Well, you've been directing.
Yeah, I've been directing.
You've been on this side of it for a while.
Yes. Now at this point, I would always have 2 ready. However, I will say, part of the thing during voice lessons and moments like that is I have been practicing multiple songs. So if they did ask me to do something else, I do have, whether or not I practiced in that moment for it, I would be ready to then go, okay, what's that other song in my repertoire that I'll do this one?
That's good.
So it's just remembering to bring the sheet music with you.
Which is important.
Which is because you may have all these things stored in your brain and then go, but it's at home. So I have like this big old folder. I should have brought it.
Yeah.
It's this big.
I've seen it. It's massive.
Because that's what we had to do back then.
Right.
Is just
Exactly.
wait for our voice teacher to give us the sheet music.
Exactly.
So I would say bring sheet music, or if it's karaoke style, bring multiple
Yes.
things, and be ready. Be
Yeah.
ready with something contrasting.
When I play for professional auditions, every auditioner, yeah, that's not an exaggeration. Every single auditioner at a professional audition brings me a folder with probably 15 to 20 songs in it. And they're usually categorized in style. They're the ballad, they're the upbeat, they're the high range, the low range, they're the comedic. They're categorized.
Yep.
And as soon as the director says, do you have something that sounds like this? They say, oh yeah, how about this song? And they're, okay, cool.
So good.
And sometimes the director will throw out a song.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll have it because they know what fits them.
Yes.
And that's a big part of it, right?
It's so big. I'm not gonna lie. Here's a okay. Talking about that story.
Go ahead.
Okay, you already know. You already
ahead.
know. I remember when I was taking voice lessons with my previous voice teacher, and I remember one of our first conversations, her saying, I think we started talking about Wicked, and I told her how much I wanted to be Elphaba.
What'd she say?
She said it's not gonna happen.
Why?
Like, I'm not exaggerating. Those were probably, yes, dream-crushing words. But you know what, Mr. Human?
What?
Now that I'm a director,
Mm-hmm.
and now that I've, like, accepted, it's okay to be a soprano.
It is.
It's okay. It's okay to sing high and to have that voice. That's okay. That's who I am.
And it's okay because it's who you are.
It's who I am.
And if you were trying to sing a different way,
It doesn't sound great.
it wouldn't be ideal
No.
because you got to lean into who you are.
You do. And so in that moment, I think my heart was crushed. And I have looked back on that moment and gone, she was so right. I'm so glad she gave me the honest truth and didn't say, okay, well, let's sing this song just for fun. No, we worked on songs that were good for me. She told me of the two, it would be Glenda. And you know what? If anyone's listening to this, I would love to play Glenda.
Yes. Question. This might be a weird, hard question
Okay, great.
to
I
answer.
love
So
those.
take a second.
Okay.
But why is it important to know who you are and what you do well and to work on that? But also, shouldn't you stretch outside of who you are? How do you balance those two? And why is it important to not get stuck, but to also focus on that? How do you do that?
I think...
Take a second.
I know. Okay. Take a second.
Take a second.
I think that, for one, as a performer, and even as a director, I never want to stop learning. I never want to say, guess what, guys? I've arrived.
I know it all.
It's done. This is it.
Right.
That's boring, right?
Right.
As a performer, specifically, since we're talking about that, I want to keep growing. And I may never be Elphaba. It's probably never going to happen. But I can still grow, and I can still train my belt. And it might sound different than Idina Menzel's belt, but I can still train my version of a belt.
Right.
And I remember the first time you heard me belt, we were getting ready for Night of Entertainment, and you said, what?
I said, I never heard you sing like that before.
It's kind of like stored away, and I'm afraid.
But it's awesome. Yeah. And so, we're not saying like just because it's what you do naturally.
Just do that.
No. We're saying realize that's where you're probably best, but that you can stretch.
Oh, totally.
And you can, because I've heard her belt and it's awesome. And she's able to grow that and push out and do that.
Yeah, and even like getting stereotyped into a character, you can break yourself out of that.
Yeah, true.
Have you been stereotyped into characters before?
Yeah. Yeah. I think everybody
Yeah,
does.
everybody does.
It's a natural thing that happens.
Have you then played that character that was outside of that?
Yes.
And it's a blast.
And it's so fun, actually. It's you feel like you're breaking out, and then people tell you, "Whoa, I didn't know you could do that."
Yeah.
And it's really fun, and it's like a good moment.
Totally. Yes. So it's that balance of knowing, hey, let's be real. I talk high. My voice naturally is high pitched.
It's true. It's true.
That's where, but I never want to stop learning.
Right.
And I'm going to keep growing. And you know what? I'm going to enjoy stepping out of that stereotypical ingenue role and playing that super comedic, screamy role. Well, don't scream without using your diaphragm.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, cool.
I feel like it sounds like we're like saying the opposite of things, but we're really not. What we're saying is just be aware of who you are as a performer and the fact that you can grow.
Yeah.
But it's good to be aware of where you are at the moment.
Yeah.
Because that's what, this is profound, but that's what the people you're auditioning for will see. They don't see who you're gonna be. We try, we try to see your potential, but we also, we see who you are, and we see who you are naturally. A lot of times we see something natural that hasn't even been fully developed.
Right.
We say, oh, I think you can do it.
Yeah.
Because I hear the tone.
Yeah.
And you just need some singing lessons and you'll get there.
Right.
Kind of thing. I've seen that a few times.
Totally. And I think it goes back to an overall attitude of being willing to, I think this is a Mrs. O'Neillism.
Go ahead.
Don't ever feel like you've learned it all.
Don't do it.
Because I think the best performers never get in that spot.
That's good.
They never say, I've learned everything I need to learn.
Yeah.
If I could still be doing voice lessons every day, I would. I loved college because that was built into our schedule.
Yeah.
But you know what? We challenge each other.
It's true.
So we still are trying to refine our performance. Every night of entertainment, if you know what that is, watch as you're watching, we're challenging each other to step out and do something different and help. Hey, we'll give honest feedback.
Yeah.
Because we want to grow.
It's so important.
It's so important.
It's good.